Good Monday morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Zach Lajway. This morning, I want to spend time talking about an issue affecting your child's safety. It's every parent's and educator's nightmare: guns on campus. According to data pulled by Crime Stoppers of Houston, between 2022 to March of this year, so a 2-year span, there have been 83 cases where a person was charged for bringing a gun to school. These numbers only include incidents from Harris County. This morning, Crime Stoppers is digging deeper into the issue to understand the why behind the issue. Rania Mankarious, Crime Stoppers CEO, joins us now. Rania, it seems like every week we're talking about these kinds of cases where someone is arrested for bringing a firearm onto a school campus. Obviously, getting to the bottom of the why here is critically important.
Absolutely. We're showing about 3 times a month we are finding somebody bringing a prohibited weapon onto a school campus in an environment where other children have access to these weapons. And so we are greatly concerned because, as you said, Zach, this is just adults in the Harris County area. It is law that firearms are prohibited. You cannot knowingly, intentionally, or recklessly bring a firearm onto a school campus. And when you have adults 17 or older, so this is some students in some high schools, as well as the adults in the community, bringing loaded weapons, we have to stop and ask, how is this happening? What are we going to do about it? And let's not forget that we started looking at this in 2022 in the wake of Uvalde. And we all know the outcome of that horrific school shooting. Unfortunately, we're finding these weapons on elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and even universities. It's something we all need to be diving deeper into and asking questions about.
Yeah, it's just a heartbreaking, sobering matter here. You talk about examining this data from almost 2 years, right? From May of 2022-ish to last month. Have you seen a common foreground between the incidents you're looking at here in Harris County?
No, and that's the problem. There's no... It's not only in one zip code or one high crime area. There doesn't seem to be a theme, maybe family violence issues that are tying these cases together. We're actually seeing this across the spectrum. So we have to ask, obviously, there's a concern of the number of people who have access to weapons, first of all. Second of all, there is a concern with the number of people feeling the ability to just walk onto any school campus with that gun. And then third, there are cases where, we have students playing with the guns, loaded handguns in backpacks that the kids are passing around, or taking selfies with the weapon in bathrooms. So there's many different issues. And then fourth, we have to look at, where are schools with their threat assessment training? Where are communities with responses if the unimaginable were to happen? We're sort of laying the groundwork here for a tragedy to strike. And so, as always, Crime Stoppers wants to intervene before something tragic can happen. And it needs the community engagement oftentimes.
I know, Rania, you said there are no obvious themes here. What about mental health or socioeconomic or domestic violence factors?
We're not seeing a definite trend, and that's what's even more concerning. Yeah. Certainly, you have cases where there's going to be really a range in environments where kids maybe don't feel safe on their campus. So the older students, again, there might be juveniles as well, but we haven't dove into that yet. But where the adult students are bringing the weapons for protection, the cases where they bring it because it's funny. There are other cases where they forgot they had it. There are adults who walk onto the campus because they carry and they don't understand the law prohibits them from carrying a loaded weapon onto a campus. It has to be locked in a vehicle where it is not in plain view. Again, there are certainly mental health, untreated mental health. There's certainly some family violence issues, but there isn't a general theme. Yeah. The themes really that we're finding is that a lot of people have access to weapons. They are bringing them onto school grounds. There's no alarm being raised beyond what we're looking at. And there should be a change here. There should be mandatory reporting when a weapon is brought onto onto a school campus, elementary through high school through university level, and there's got to be a swift response.
Yeah, yeah. I know you're saying Crime Stoppers is obviously working to get ahead of this problem, right, as is the community. Once this research is done, what efforts will be done after you gather this data from the past, several years?
Well, first, we're going to work with local law enforcement, the DA's office, the teams here, boots on the ground, to think about how we can streamline these cases in a more efficient and effective way. That's first. Second, we've got to look at going up to Austin and saying, why is it in Houston and maybe in other cities? We will eventually start looking at other cities or calling upon other cities to look at this. Why are these cases simply being filed as, possession of a prohibited weapon? Why are they not flagged as possession of a prohibited weapon on a school grounds where that's obviously not allowed? And why are they not escalated or elevated through the system? Right now, nothing seems to be happening. We only found out, Zach, that these were on school campuses because we started to look at gun-related cases, and we pulled all the possession of a weapon, firearm cases, and then started to really study them. And we thought, wow, there's 10, 15, 20, now we're at 80 cases, but there's no indication that these were on a school ground until we did the deep dive and we started reading about the facts. And that's got to change. There's got to be mandatory reporting. The local community needs to know, and certainly our local law enforcement partners with the DA, with organizations like ours, need to do better at making sure this never happens again. And it is not an easy crime to commit.
When we talk about doing better, where does it start? Does it start with the responding agency and then the DA's office? Where do we start by doing better?
Zach, that's the question our team is asking. We are not about sort of finger pointing and sort of moving on. We're actually about identifying issues and having honest conversations. Some people do not like the conversations we have. We've got that. But we've got to have the honest conversation so we can come up with solutions. It's been all about solutions. So working with the school district police departments, what is the format when a weapon's found on campus? We've got to understand that. When do local agencies get involved, FBI, HPD, et cetera? Where are we with threat assessments? What is the DA's office doing with these charges? Where are they landing with the magistrate or the judge? How is that? Where's the turnaround there? And where is the law where it needs to be? So really, it's a big picture review, and we are committed. We are committed to looking at this as an agency. We just started to dive into the data, but already it's alarming. As a parent myself, I can tell you, to know that there's an average of 3 adults a month carrying a loaded weapon onto any number of elementary, middle, and high school and post-secondary schools, that's alarming. It takes one fight, one joke, one misunderstanding for that to turn into a complete tragedy.
Yeah, it's extremely alarming. And as you said, it takes a community, everyone working together. So we appreciate your time this morning. As always, Rania, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Zach. See you next time.